500 million years ago, the village of Skokie was at the bottom of a primal sea. 20,000 years ago, most of the Chicagoland area was encased in ice. Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm an advisory librarian here at the Skokie Public Library. And today I want to share with you some of the amazing local collections the library has to offer for exploring our community's history. Our local collections don't date back 500 million years, though I think a good place to begin with any history is with the first human inhabitants to reside here in the Skokie area. One of my colleagues here at Skokie Library wrote a really great primer a few years back about discovering Skokie's indigenous past. His article includes some great resources for discovering more about the first peoples who settled into this area, including the Potawatomi, who lived here from roughly the 16th through mid-19th centuries. Another resource found in our impressive local history collection includes this 1988 book written by Richard Whittingham on behalf of the village of Skokie in celebration of its then centennial. It begins by focusing on Joseph Curtis, an English immigrant who built a cabin, and this is not that cabin, in what is now Morton Grove back in 1831. The book also includes examples of what the landscape looked like back then. Where the library sits right now was actually rich with oak and maple and hickory forest, and you didn't have to travel far before you came across marshlands and prairie. At the same time, our Chicago neighbors had a population, as of 1833, of 350 people. By the time Curtis settled in, the Potawatomi Indians, who previously made up the largest native population in the area, were already under legal obligation to move westward due to the Treaty of 1833, sometimes known as the Treaty of Chicago. This treaty and hundreds more like it were one method the U.S. government at the time used to displace native people from their tribal lands. Our own local history collection really begins to take off in the wake of an energetic settler to the area by the name of Henry Harms. Harms was born in Prussia in 1832 before immigrating to the United States, where he eventually had a farm and house on the current site of the Skokie Village Hall by 1854. Harms is known as the founding father of Skokie. According to Whittingham's 1988 history, it's basically Henry Harms' achievements in public service that etched his name so indelibly in the early history of the township. At various times, he served as township constable, supervisor, and commissioner of highways, as well as the Cook County Drainage Commissioner. In that later capacity, he supervised the drainage of some of the swamplands in the Skokie village, thus opening up for settlement new areas within the present boundaries of the village. Via Skokie Public Library's Niles Township Historic Documents digital collection, readers have remarkable access to documents, meeting minutes, treasurer's accounts, and property tax assessments from the beginning of Niles Township. These primary source materials document the growth of Niles Township, from this sparsely settled collection of family homesteads to a township of incorporated towns and villages, interconnected by roads, irrigation canals, and school districts. It's through these documents that we see the work of community building, the quotidian work of things like drainage and other infrastructure, of tax assessments, budgets, and appropriations. How were America's first modern cities built? This offers a fascinating in-depth look into the inner workings of institution and community building. I want to turn next to our really fantastic Fair Housing and Skokie online exhibit. Our introduction reads, by the middle of the 20th century, the village of Skokie, Illinois, found itself undergoing enormous changes. The population of Skokie in 1960 was 59,364, a 300% increase from its population just 10 years prior. And as a result, building, selling, and maintaining adequate housing was a priority to Skokie residents as well as the local government. Simultaneously, issues of segregation and discrimination towards people of color, particularly the Black community, were growing ever more present in the daily lives of Americans as the civil rights movement began to gain steam. By 1961, not long after the first Black family moved into Skokie, only to have their home vandalized, the Skokie Human Relations Commission was established with a mission to promote discrimination-free housing in Skokie. As the introduction to our online exhibit makes clear, today over 90 languages are spoken in the homes in Skokie, and much of Skokie's diverse and multicultural heritage can be attributed to the village's proactive approach towards integration. One of the most intriguing and insightful documents found in our fair housing exhibit are the writings of Gwendolyn Fortune, a member of the fifth black family to move into Skokie in 1964, along with her husband and 3 children. Fortune taught at Old Orchard Junior High School and Oakton Community College, served as the ethnic studies consultant for the Chicago Consortium of Colleges and Universities, and wrote several novels. She was known for her bluntness and wit, as reflected in the items in this collection, which includes a memoir of her time living in Skokie, Outsider in the Promised Land. Moving on, I want to bring your attention to the Skokie History Project. Here you'll find a broad selection of historical materials related to Skokie, including maps, architectural drawings, aerial photographs, photos of people, schools, businesses, and religious buildings, all housed on the mighty Illinois Digital Archives. Hands down, one of the most popular items in our local collections at Skokie Public Library is the Niles Township High School Yearbooks digital collections. Here you can browse any one of 93 different yearbooks dating back to the early 30s through the late 1980s. Did you know that current Attorney General Merrick Garland graduated from Niles West High School in 1970? Another fascinating glimpse into our recent history is our collection of newspapers, which includes several issues of The Villager, a funky short-lived publication that ran from just 1958 to 1959, and it covered news from Skokie, Morton Grove, Lincolnwood, Niles, and Gulf. Again, this offers a magical glimpse into local lore, the weird, wonderful, and rich folklores, mythologies, and stories a community or a people tell itself, or at least what the editors thought the community wanted to hear. I particularly like the ads found in The Villager. In the late 1970s, a small group of Chicago-based neo-Nazis attempted to hold a rally in Skokie. They targeted Skokie because of its large Jewish population, which at the time included many survivors of the Holocaust. Eventually, the group took their rallies elsewhere. Skokie Public Library's digital collection based on this event includes news articles and editorials from local newspapers, audio recordings from the Skokie Village Board of Trustees meetings, a memoir written by a local clergywoman, correspondence, press releases, court documents, and 2 documentary films, as well as newspaper coverage of the made-for-television film Skokie, which broadcast in 1981.
Only when there are Nazis in Skokie or Marquette Park does the urgency of what we're doing seem to hit us. If the Nazis are there, I will be where the Nazis are to say no to that.
I've barely scratched the surface of our local history. I've focused almost entirely on our digitized collections, though the library also contains a large collection of physical items, books, DVDs, newspapers on microfilm that are residing in the library that enrich our understanding of Skokie's past, present, and future. History, of course, whether it's happening locally or nationally or universally, continues to grow and evolve, as does our understanding of it. And each of us plays a role in that history. What history are you making? What history will you share? And what story will you tell? Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Because what we want to do with digital collections is we want to show you why. Why do we care about this person?
Yeah,